Hey guys, Chris from Pro Beast Audio Installation, and today what we're going to be doing is a new radio install on this 2015 and up Subaru WRX, and this would also apply to the STI model as well. In this install, we're going to show you how to remove the factory radio, get the new radio all wired up, program steering wheel controls, and reinstallation. Provo Beast Audio Installation channel is sponsored by NVX and Sonic Electronics. Get 10% off all speakers, amplifiers, wiring kits, and more with coupon code PBAI at NVX. Also get 5% off all car audio components at Sonic Electronics with coupon code ProvoBeast. Now in this install today, we're going to be putting in the AVH 2300 NEX. We will have an unboxing for you. I'll link in the description once that video is available. This is the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto unit. We have our wiring harness, the 70-7552. We have a micro bypass for video playback while in motion. We have our USB retention cable. This allows us to keep the factory USB in the glove box. We have a dash kit. This is the Metra 95 8905B. Doubled in dash kit. And finally, to retain our steering wheel controls and program them the way we like them, we have our iDatalink Maestro Universal Steering Wheel Control Kit. So what we're going to do first thing here is wire up our new radio. Now we're going to match colors up to our aftermarket harness. This is our adapter harness. This is kind of like a Nissan harness before they switched over to the Toyota type harness. This is the adapter that we're going to use. In addition, we're going to tie in our micro bypass and our power and ground for our steering wheel controls. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so what we've done here is strip both ends and begin to marriage colors up here. Really, it's color for color. It's pretty straightforward. Really things to watch out for. In this harness that we've used, be sure to wire in your power and ground for your steering wheel controls. Now this portion is to our iDatalink Maestro steering wheel control module. The red and the black are your power and ground respectively, and you just tie them into the power and ground as you can see here. We used butt connectors. You're more than welcome to also solder and use some heat shrink. Just ensure that your connections are good. Just don't twist and tape. We put in a micro bypass since we're doing a Pioneer. That's what you can see here. This micro bypass is wired in. The green goes to the parking brake, which is labeled on the Pioneer harness. This also taps into ground, and the blue-white wire on our Pioneer harness, which I've done. Other than that, you're just matching up color for color. We're going to zip tie this all together, make it nice and clean. We're going to go ahead and continue to prep for our steering wheel controls, getting these wires, which will connect into the car, to tap into those steering wheel controls and make them all ready for our Pioneer. Okay, so we went ahead and got everything zip tied, cleaned up, and I used some Testa tape to make the wiring look really, really nice. So we have our steering wheel control module, we have our portion that plugs into the Subaru side, and the portion that plugs into the Pioneer side. We have our WR wired remote input from our steering wheel controls. Just run that down there, and that'll plug into the back of the Pioneer to keep the steering wheel controls. Okay, so basically we're all done here. Everything's all cleaned up. Now the three wires that you're going to need for your install are the black-white wire on the iDatalink Maestro. You'll need the purple-red wire, and finally the last one here is the pink-red wire as well. So these three wires are three wires that we're going to connect into the car. Once we get in the car, we're going to show you exactly where to connect those in the main wiring harness while we're going to be using our T-taps. Now if you find that it's not working for you, you can also solder in as well, but we chose this method so we can disconnect the whole harness if needed from the factory setup. So in the quick start guide, to begin the programming, what you'll need to do is you go to this website, iDatalink.com/plugin. Once you're there, you're going to have to download this plugin that goes with Internet Explorer. Once you download that plugin and install it, you're going to need to register an account, which it will have you do. and then log in. Once you've logged in, you're going to connect your Maestro module without anything plugged in except for the module, and it also comes with this USB cable. Once you plug that in, it's going to recognize that the cable's connected. After you've logged in, like we've already said, you're going to have to program your module. Now, it's going to, on the very top right of the screen, that little green button says flash your module. Once you click that, it's going to ask you the year, make, and model, the stereo type, the trim level, everything that you'll have specific to your car. Once you've done that, it's going to tell you what wires to connect. It'll allow you to download an installation guide, and also it'll allow you to program what you want buttons to do what on the steering wheel, which is pretty cool. Whether it's a single tap on those buttons or press and hold to have a second option as well. That walks you through step by step. Other than that, the biggest things to worry about, like I said, make sure you have Windows 7. You may be able to get by with Windows 8 or 10. And it says it's also compatible with Vista and XP if you still have a computer compatible with there. And then the other thing that you'll need is make sure you have Internet Explorer. It won't work on Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. We have our radio here. We actually went ahead and put on the dash kit as well. That's all ready to go. The kit itself came with instructions on how to install the kit. So there's no guesswork there. It just fits right on around the radio, and we use 3 screws on both sides. That's all done. Next step is we're going to head over to the car and begin the install. Now at this point, you are more than welcome to disconnect the negative on the battery. I recommend you do so. So we have a panel popping tool and a Phillips screwdriver. Now usually people kind of start here at the top using this panel tool. Kind of gives us a little bit of leverage there on that lip. And just pops on out. Same thing here on the bottom. These are great little grabbers. Pop that on out. Now that's all you're going to get. Next thing here is you may have to, either you can reach and feel back behind, or go ahead and use that tool to disconnect the harnesses. Alright, there's 2 harnesses. They are both just slightly different, so you don't have to worry about getting them actually backwards. And then this harness down below. Okay, there you go. So that's out of the way. Put that in the safe spot. We don't want to scratch that at all. Now next thing here, you're going to have 4 screws on the bottom, and then 2 screws on the side. This little bracket will come on out. Now this may be one of the hardest parts of this install. Some of these harnesses are really hard to get to, and they're super tight behind the radio. So whether you go from down below or up top, we'll show you what harnesses that you'll need to disconnect once we get it disconnected. This one here was the hardest. This is your USB plug. You got your 16-pin harness and your 20-pin harness. This generally has your aux in it. This is your main harness that we have the adapter for. Here's your satellite radio antenna. Here's your Motorola antenna. So we got those all unplugged. Like I said, there may be a zip tie on the back here. Go ahead and cut that, and this will just come on out. Alright, so we've got our new radio here. Plugs on in there. And these we're going to tap into the wiring here. We're going to just use more T-taps. This is for our sub. This is our remote turn on wire. And then this end, just go ahead and plug into the back of your radio. We printed off a wire diagram. On our module, what we need to do, the purple red wire needs to connect to the brown or black wire, pin 4 in the harness. Our pink red wire on the module needs connecting to the car's blue white or blue yellow wire, which is pin 13. And then our black white wire on our module needs to connect it needs to connect into the yellow wire, which is pin 14. And the cool thing is it'll give you a pinning diagram, and we're going to show you what that looks like. Again, the brown bluish goes to yellow. The pink purple goes to black brown, and the pink red goes to blue white or blue yellow, depending on your car. Just like that. Now this is for our amplifier turn on wire, which we run with RCAs, and that will just plug in there. Yeah, that's about it. This end plugs into our Pioneer, and this end plugs into the WR on the back of the Pioneer. Since it's all been programmed, it's just plug and play at this point. Now we've picked up that Metro adapter cable. This will keep our USB in our glove box working in the jockey box here in the center. And then our aux is in here. We're not going to retain it at this time. And then of course everything else is pretty self-explanatory. We're not doing XM radio on this, so we won't use the pink harness. And then this is our regular AM FM, so we'll make sure to plug that in. Now before we throw everything back in, we will need to be sure that we run our Bluetooth microphone. And what we're going to do is we're going to run it all the way up and actually try to go up to where the factory mic is. You can actually pop out the factory mic because you can't retain it, and then you can mount your aftermarket microphone up in that spot if you choose to do so. Or as an alternative, you can just put it here on the A-pillar. Alright, so I ran the Bluetooth mic underneath the dash, up the pillar. I just tacked it up underneath the headliner and it came out here. Now I removed the factory mic. It's this little square box. It's an amplified mic. There's no way to retain it. So you pop it out, and I put a little bit of hot glue on each side just to hold it so it doesn't rattle. And in its place, I put the factory mic location, the aftermarket mic. So it'll be clearly accessible through that port. And I put a little bit of hot glue on the new mic there so it doesn't rattle or move around and it stays put. And then I'm going to put that back in. Alright, so we went ahead and got the radio mounted. Everything was plugged into the back. We got our screws all in. Now that plate that went across the bottom doesn't fit with this dash kit. You can try to modify the dash kit to make it work, but it's just not necessary. But yet we put all the screws back in, just so you're aware. We just did a quick test, threw in the key, and everything works great. So at this time, we're going to start buttoning everything up, making sure nothing gets pinched down below, nothing gets unplugged, and get the dash bezel back on. Okay, so got everything put back together. Fits in there super well. It looks really nice. We're super pleased with the outcome. Do a quick test for you. Sorry, we'll have the annoying door chime. Okay, there we are. If you have any questions about this install, just go ahead and post a comment below. Thanks guys for watching the channel, and we will see you in the next video.